This alpha predator of yours, Doctor. Do you really think he has a chance?
The arrogance of man is thinking nature is in our control, and not the other way around. Let them fight.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Frankenstein's podcast, where it's all about the monster. We're a creature feature podcast about monsters and why we love them. I'm one of your hosts, Joe Praska, and with me is...
your other host, Khalid Hussein.
What's going on, Khalid?
Not much, Joe. Sunday fun day. Been bouncing around. I got a 3D scan of myself done this morning. That was pretty cool.
Like for like an action figure?
Literally exactly for an action figure. It's
Oh.
Spoiler alert for anybody who follows my music, but I've got an EP called Branded Content coming out soon, and we are doing, because it's called Branded Content, we're doing it as me and my producer Max as action figures. So he got this like really cool scanner today and just scanned me, and it was really cool.
Okay. Well, that's cool. That's pretty cool. I'll give you that.
I don't always
That's cool.
have like cool, like little like adventures like that. So
No.
I figured I would just drop that in.
Yeah. Usually it's like, oh, I got a new like soda stream or something.
Yeah. Something, real banal, real down to earth. But like, I got to show like my bona fides. Like I'm still a cool LA guy.
Yeah.
What about you, Joe? How are you doing?
Oh, equally, if not more cool. I had a sick child today who threw up. I had dealt with problems with my front door lock. So yeah, very cool.
Wow. Indistinguishable days as far as I could tell.
Essentially, yeah. It was great. It was great.
Nice. Nice.
Well, I'm going to move us right along, Khalid. I know my day's exciting. Everyone wants to hear more about it, but I do want to bring in our special guest for today. Joining us is Sunil Patel, who is a San Francisco Bay Area writer who's published numerous short stories and anthologies like Asian Monsters and magazines like Asimov's Science Fiction. Had numerous short plays and sketches performed by San Francisco Bay Area companies like Awesome Theater and Quicksand Club, and posted numerous movie reviews on websites like Letterboxd and The Workprint. You could check out his work at ghostwritingcow.com and find his reviews for over 30 Godzilla movies and more at letterboxd.com/ghostwritingcow. Welcome, Sunil.
Hello. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you. Thanks for joining us.
Welcome.
So I think that we could share, right? I think we could share with our audience. I emailed you like 2 years ago, right? And you responded like a couple weeks ago, finally.
Yeah, I think what happened was that it got bounced to a spam filter and got caught in a spam filter at some point. And I finally was just going through my website email address, which I don't normally check because it just bounces to my regular email address.
Yeah.
But I think I caught a spam filter along the way. And for some reason, I'm glad I looked, because most of it was crap. Like most of it, you got an email address that's just full of spam.
Yeah.
But I look and look like, wait a second, this is real. And oh crap, I would like to do this. I hope you still want me to do this.
Yeah.
Please don't make me feel so rude for not responding for 2 years. I literally did not see it until a few weeks ago.
Yeah, no, it's great. I mean, I just assumed you're not interested and moved on, but like, I'm glad. I am glad.
Because I would take it very personally.
Got enough rejection that I got to deal with it, right? Thick skin here. But yes, I'm glad we finally connected. This is great. And it works out well because previously I just emailed you about being on the podcast in general, but for the Godzilla section, which I will introduce, I forgot to say in the beginning, this is KAIJUBILEE, our celebration of Godzilla for his 70th anniversary. Thanks for joining us for this one, because you've been doing a lot of Godzilla rewatching, right?
Mostly watching.
For the first time, right?
Yes, over 30. I've watched over 30 Godzilla movies this year.
Wow.
And most of them are for the first time.
That is something. I was going to ask like your background with Godzilla, but that kind of answers that question. So you start at the beginning and you're making your way all the way through?
Yes. I mean, I'd seen a handful. Like I'd seen the American one when I was a kid and barely remembered it. I'd seen, I think Godzilla Final Wars actually was probably my first real Godzilla movie that I watched. And I only watched that because I like the director. And then I think I might have no, sorry, I think I watched Shin Godzilla because everyone talked about it and that was really good.
Yeah.
I watched the MonsterVerse movies, that they're okay. But then Godzilla -1 came out and it was amazing. And it radicalized me into a Godzilla fan. And I was like, I really need to watch the Japanese Godzilla movies because I want to really appreciate like the Japanese Godzilla movies now that I've seen a really, really good one, and also Shin Godzilla. But like, so I got the Criterion and was like, I'm going to become a real Godzilla fan. And then I realized most of them were on Max. I got a friend to put a list together of like, what are the essential ones? I don't want to watch all of them. Just give me like the best ones. And it was still like half to 70% of them, but like, here are the best ones to watch. So fine, I watched a bunch of those. And then what happened was that when I got to the end of that list, also adding my own stuff, because there were some that I wanted to watch that she was like, they're not essential, but like, I really want to watch all the Mechagodzilla movies because they sound really cool for specific reasons. When I got to the end of my list, I thought, you know what? I kind of want to go back and watch some of the ones I skipped that people were like, you should really watch this one. So I actually just finished that yesterday. Godzilla 2000 was the last one that was my list that I sort of like my second round. So there are like four or five Japanese movies that I have not watched yet that I'm sort of saving for a rainy day, which aren't the best ones, like Godzilla versus Space Godzilla, like just for, like All Monsters Attack, and ones that people that won't really recommend it highly. But again, when I need a Godzilla fix, I bought the Godzilla Showa, the Criterion set, so I have all those ready to go at some point when I need to watch more Godzilla, which I know I will want to watch. I already want to watch all the ones I watched this year again. Like, so
there are some real gems in there. I mean, even the ones that aren't. But
there are a lot of gems.
Yeah.
Where does Godzilla -1 rank now that you've seen all these other Godzillas?
That is now my November 1, actually.
Still number 1.
It was between that and Shin Godzilla. Honestly, there isn't a lot of competition apart from the original, from the OG, but it's great. Most of the other ones I feel like aren't in the level of like really great, amazing movies to me. They're really good. I mean, I enjoy them. I adore so many of them. But Godzilla -1, Shin Godzilla, and the original Godzilla are the only ones that I'm like, these are fucking amazing movies.
Wow.
All right.
Okay. I'm excited. Well, that's the last one in our KAIJUBILEE series. So I'm excited to get to it.
Technically, this is our penultimate episode of the series. So we're going to do -1 right after this.
Oh, have you not seen it?
We haven't yet. We started the series, and I'm like saving it for the end.
I've seen it 4 times.
Good. Wow, that's good.
And it's amazing every time.
I love that. I am very excited.
Nice.
Well, I got a couple questions for you, Sunil, that we ask every guest who's new to the podcast, KAIJUBILEE or not KAIJUBILEE. But the first one is just in all of pop culture. Could be books, movies, shows, games, even anything that is. What is your favorite monster or creature? And if you don't consider it the same, what's the scariest to you?
Okay, I'm really bad with favorites. But when I think about my favorite monsters in sort of all pop culture, the ones that come to mind, at least currently, sort of tie between Freddy Krueger and Chucky.
Okay.
Because I recently went through the Nightmare on Elm Street series and Child's Play series in the last couple of years and go just really fond of them, both those characters, as specifically because both of those series are consistently good. Like, I would highly recommend going through them. Like, you're not gonna find it not worth your time because so many of them are just good in various ways. Even the ones that aren't great have something good in them. And both those characters are both like, they're really scary to me, but they're also funny. Like, they kind of have that really, really good balance of like legitimately being scary, but also making you laugh at times. But as far as the actual scariest monster, I probably would go to The Thing from The Thing.
Good choice.
Because every time I watch that movie, it's like the stuff of nightmares, and it just also the fact that it could be anyone is just really creepy. Like the fact that it could be hiding in someone you would not even know it, and suddenly they become this weird monstrosity.
Yeah, the paranoia element adds a lot. Second question for you. What do you consider yourself most geeky about?
Currently, it's collecting movies because I just became really a movie collector last year. I mean, I was a collector of books and comics and other things, but for some reason I wasn't buying movies all the time, and now I suddenly am. Now I'm like on the subreddits and like buying boutique versions of things, looking for the packaging and the bonus features and how am I going to organize on the shelf? Should I have a shelf of just Godzilla movies? I need to buy like different versions of this movie. I have a German version of Colossal because it has the behind the scenes documentary that the American version doesn't. So Colossal, great monster movie, by the way.
That is a good one. That is a really good one. I agree.
That's so the German version has a behind the
The
scenes,
German version has the behind the scenes. It's not on the American version,
but it's an American movie.
It's an American movie. It's an American movie, but for some reason they shot it behind the scenes, Doc. And we got the German version. We played it. It's in English. Like they shot it. The content was there. I don't know why they didn't put it on the Blu-ray for America.
It doesn't make any sense. Wild. Wow. Well, I am a kindred spirit with you. I am also a big movie collector. I've loved like digging into the boutique, like Arrow and like I don't know, Deaf Crocodile is my new favorite right now. Is a big one. Like just some really obscure, weird bullshit. But like I love all that stuff. And I'm with you. Like, how do I organize the shelves? Do I organize it by label, by like title, by series, genre? You know, it's I change it sometimes.
Yeah. Eventually, I just recently pulled out all the Ghiblies because I didn't buy a bunch of Ghiblies from somebody. So I'm like, you know what? They all look good together. I'm gonna group them all together, even though they're not technically like a boutique or they're not looking a label. Yeah. But like, I feel like they should all hang out together. They look really cute together with their little similar packaging and they should go together.
Yeah, sometimes exactly when the spines work together, you got to put them next to each other. I get that. Yes, I love that. Well, thank you for answering those questions. I appreciate that. Before we dig into our movie, Khalid, I have a question for you.
Hit me.
Khalid, did you hear about how Godzilla destroyed a cheese factory?
You actually asking me?
I am asking. Did you hear about that?
No, I didn't. No, did it just happen?
Well, debris was everywhere.
Sunil, I'm so sorry. I'm sure you were having a good time up until now. If you have to leave, I get it.
Oh man, you have a
it's good. Thanks for talking. Thanks for giving time.
Yeah. No worries. All right,
debris, and that's a segue. Khalid, what are we talking about?
Doesn't even matter after that, Joe.
It was a good one.
Thanks for asking. Today we're talking about the 2014 Godzilla, directed by Gareth Edwards, and I've got a synopsis from our homeboy Google that's not crappy. It goes a little something like this. Ford Brody, a Navy bomb expert, has just reunited with his family in San Francisco when he is forced to go to Japan to help his estranged father, Joe. Soon, both men are swept up in an escalating crisis when Godzilla, king of the monsters, arises from the sea to combat malevolent adversaries that threaten the survival of humanity. The creatures leave colossal destruction in their wake as they make their way toward their final battleground, San Francisco. That's it.
What a monster.
They're creatures of the abstract that live off potential energy.
It's alive!
Boom, good one. Sunil's home, right? Bay Area?
Oh, crap.
Yeah.
Watch out, Sunil.
Yeah.
This is actually a true story. Every time I drive over the Golden Gate Bridge, I drive over the Bay Bridge normally, but even though it's the Bay Bridge, every time I drive over the Bay Bridge, I am low-key afraid of a kaiju just popping up and destroying the bridge.
It's been in more than one movie, right?
It happens a lot in movies.
Yeah.
And I'm not even joking. I really just get sort of low-key anxious of like, a gigantic monster could pop out of nowhere and destroy this bridge while I'm on driving it, and I will die.
Yeah,
I mean, there's something about superpowered like beings and creatures, like just they are obsessed with tourist attractions. I don't know what the significance of this bridge is to a kaiju, but like they have to see it every time they visit the bay.
So a tad bit of background before we start digging into the movie, though. Our last episode we did was Godzilla against Mechagodzilla. That Toho era, the Millennium era, ended in 2004, and the next Toho era would not begin until 2016 with Shin Godzilla. So this is kind of like in the middle here, and this is the one movie that set the stage for the new like legendary MonsterVerse, which now has I think 5 movies total plus a spinoff, the Monarch Legends Monarch series as well. And I think there's probably more to come. But in licensing Godzilla to Legendary, Toho did set some specific conditions that Godzilla is still born of a nuclear incident and that the beginning is set in Japan. So those are some of the conditions before they started making this. But with that being said, I'd like to get some initial thoughts. Sunil, since you're the guest, what are your thoughts on this one? How does it rank for you amongst the Godzilla films?
So when I first watched this, maybe soon after it came out, and I wasn't really into Godzilla at the time. I just kind of watched it because it was the new Godzilla movie. It's an American Godzilla movie, and people were talking about it. They said it was pretty good, and I was sort of bored by a lot of it. I just don't know why they got all these great actors to do nothing. Action sort of felt like, oh, let's destroy things. There wasn't a lot of feeling to it. And I loved Monsters by Gareth Edwards. Like I was a fan of the director, so I was expecting more, but they're just no plot or character depth. This came out, I think, soon after Pacific Rim. And so I was like, okay, you know what? Like Pacific Rim did like big monsters and giant stuff and gave me characters to care about. So, so I came back to it after watching, 30 Godzilla movies, and I was less underwhelmed. I still don't love it, but I kind of, I found more to like about it. I still thought, yes, the characters are useless and they're really not much to care about. And we can go into some of the criticisms there. But what I really liked, I think, after really becoming more Godzilla fan, is how well the monster action is in this movie. I don't think I appreciate that as much the first time. One, I think because I watched on a crappy TV. And so when I watched on my much better TV that I have now, it was easier to see the action. Even though it was dark, you could really make out the monsters much better when I watched it this time. And I just love the fact that he treated Godzilla like a force of nature, like a beast, just a terrifying, scary creature. Which, as you guys have found out, isn't always the case in Godzilla movies. And most of my favorite ones are the ones where he actually is really scary. I enjoy the ones where he's kind of silly, but I think when it's really terrifying, that really gets to me. And I think the way the monster action is shot is really cool in this movie. I think I want to talk about that too. But yeah, I'm like, it ranks pretty low because I feel like I almost inherently give the Japanese one just a boost because I feel like they automatically rank higher because they're authentic. But also, yeah, this one just still doesn't have a lot of engagement for me as far as just like the story. It just when it gets going, there's good monster action, but in between, it's like, why is there no Godzilla for like 3 hours?
Every time Godzilla's not on the screen, the other characters should be asking, "Where's Godzilla?"
How about you, Khalid? What'd you think?
Great points all around, Sunil. I think I agree for the most part. Having gone through a lot of the series, watching them for the first time, I do definitely like feel myself like a lot more charmed by the Japanese ones, even the ones that like I don't find as entertaining. I think there's just like a reverence and affection for it that the American adaptations just by virtue can't really have. But yeah, this is my first time seeing this movie. The only thing I remember about when it came out was just unanimously everybody was underwhelmed by it. And it was enough of a like across the board, like people I kind of agree with, people I really agree with, like everybody was like, yeah, this ain't it. And I was like, cool, a movie I don't have to watch. So coming to it now, like 10 years later, which 2014, 10 years later, like that's crazy. And it feels like it actually. I was always worried that like the 2010s wouldn't feel distinct enough, but like I feel like enough time has passed now that like I do have like a remove from that era now and I can watch it through that lens, which is like interesting. And I think I bring that up because this movie really speaks to like what a lot of the movies in the 2010s were doing, which was like reckoning with 9/11 imagery and like really immersing us in it. And it's just like, on the one hand, I get it, like Man of Steel and all those other movies that like, and even the Avengers, they would really try to like give credence to like the level of damage something that powerful could do. And Godzilla's a no-brainer in that department, but I think it also kind of like underscores the big problem with that is like, if you're like really living in the wreckage, it's probably because like Godzilla's not there anymore. So like, we're spending a lot of time in like Godzilla's like aftermath and like we're just seeing a lot of just sets of like crumbled buildings and stuff like that, which is like evocative, sure, but compelling, not so much. You know what I mean? And maybe it's because like now I'm looking at it on the other side of like a decade plus of 9/11 imagery in movies where like, yeah, you shot this on a soundstage somewhere with like a bunch of concrete slabs and cool. But I do think that like while this movie didn't do much for me in terms of like a Godzilla film, it did give me an appreciation for like why Gareth Edwards does like keep getting like these chances at bat. Like, I don't think it's like, sometimes you'll see like a director keep getting movies and you're just like, how? But like Gareth Edwards is like an inspired director. Like I distinctly remembered in the trailers, and then when I saw it again in this movie, that shot of the like SEAL team or whatever that's jumping out of the plane with the red dye.
Yeah.
And that's really cool to me because like I think that it's really hard to show humans as any kind of like threat to Godzilla or like a reasonable opponent. So like obviously I rolled my eyes when like Aaron Taylor Johnson is like pulls his gun out on a kaiju, like that's gonna do anything in the third act. But like there are moments where I'm just like, yeah, like that choreography and stuff like that, it's like visually striking. There's like a narrative propulsion to it, and it just, if you're gonna do the like Godzilla but real, this is a good compromise to me. It still kind of has like a fantastical element to it. But yeah, those are my initial thoughts on Godzilla 2014. What about you, Joe? What did you think?
I think I'm with you guys. You both make some great points. I think I liked it, didn't love it either. I'm with you about the Toho ones having just like a little bit more of a sense of charm to them. That being said, like for this one being kind of like that, like almost like kind of darker, like grittier take on it. I appreciated that they were able to do a little bit more than the 1998, the Roland Emmerich one. Like how they kind of were worried about using the atomic breath in that one because they thought it'd be too like silly. But they're like, we're still going to do it in this and still feel like even more grounded. Like they were able to kind of like balance that in an interesting way. So I like that. I think there's a lot of really cool pieces to this. I think it was a good choice for this to be a versus movie. Also, like having the Mutu creatures, which we'll talk about later, but like having this being a Godzilla fights something else, and like I think that lends more to the big like force of nature, or we can't control nature, like theme of it, where it's like not just Godzilla, you know, destroying our city and being seen as an antagonist. Like he's kind of an anti-hero in a little bit, just like kind of doing his own thing. And they're like, if they are able to fight, there's like a natural balance and order to it. And I think that theme came off well being a versus movie. And I like that. I think that Sunil, what you were saying about the way it's shot, like the way that it's mostly from like the ground level that we see the kaiju. And I think that's a really cool way to look at it. I think that really adds to the sense of scale. I've talked many times on this podcast before about how my favorite shots in the Toho movies are the scenes where they're able to like composite the people in front and the kaiju in the background. And like with the technology that we have today, like you could just do similar shots in like way more like exciting ways. And I think that this really took full advantage of that. Like I think the sequence where Aaron Taylor Johnson's in the train and you see like the kaijus in the background, like that was really cool and striking. Like things like that were really cool. I like Godzilla being kind of like the anti-hero in this a little bit. I think I struggled with the transfer of it. I watched it on Max and it felt really dark, like lighting wise. I really
also watch it on Max. Yeah, I'll watch it on Max. But I think I have an OLED TV, so that might have helped me see a little bit more. But it was pretty dark. Yeah, that's why that was my problem the first time. Was it was so dark.
Yeah, and that really bothered me because I wanted to see way more. Like I think that there was a lot of potential there for like cool battles, and I did read somewhere that part of it is the transfer that WB did, and that it was brighter in the theaters. I don't know if that's true. I read that there was a transfer problem and it degraded and it's darker and like has only been recently fixed through like some 4K transfers on disc. So like the actual like streaming transfers are not very good. So that's, I don't want to like put that at the movie then if it's a studio problem, but like that's a bummer.
That 4K after all, then I guess.
I know. I texted it to Khalid too. I was like, I should have gotten the disc.
Movie collector didn't get this Godzilla movie.
I am very I think the biggest like struggle of KAIJUBILEE has been that a lot of these movies are on Max and like their compression just sucks. Like their audio isn't the best. Sometimes the video is darker than it should be. Nothing but ire for WB.
Big advertisement for physical media.
I watched most of the old ones on Max, and then was able to get some of the other ones on discs, and so
I think that's better. I also feel like this is kind of like a cliche complaint now at this point. Like I feel like people pointed this out a ton at the time, but like the Bryan Cranston's character Joe Brody dying so early was I think a misstep. I think that like it was a shock value thing at the time, but like he really was the only character I feel like that had agency in a lot of way. Like he was driving the plot with his like investigation. Like Aaron Taylor Johnson, when he's the protagonist, like he steps in, I feel like he's just whisked or like carried from scene to scene because like, oh, you're gonna like get on this plane and then he's gonna like be where he needs to be suddenly, or like, oh, he's the only bomb here. You know, like
he conveniently keeps like joining the team that's like,
like he just kind of gets pulled where he needs to go. Like he wasn't driving anything. And so like I felt like that was a bummer. Like I think Bryan Cranston's character was exciting and interesting in that way, and we lost that when he died.
I mean, well, yeah, two things. Bryan Cranston is great, obviously. Aaron Taylor Johnson, I've liked in other movies, but here he has the charisma of a potato, and like I don't understand it. Like he's fun in Kick-Ass, he's fun in Bullet Train, he's even fun in Tenet, but like here he is just dull as shit. So that's one major problem. And like you said, Khalid, he doesn't do anything. He's just being shuttled along the plot. It's just boring.
Yeah.
But other thing about Bryan Cranston is, again, when you watch all the Godzilla movies, 90% of the protagonist in a Godzilla movie is a scientist or a journalist. He's a scientist. Bryan Cranston is supposed to be the protagonist in a Godzilla movie, not a soldier. It's hardly ever a soldier, except for some of those Heisei movies where like with the Mecha G people. Sometimes it's kind of a soldier, but even those are sort of like scientist soldiers, right? Like,
I mean, narratively, like it's his journey. You know what I mean? Like it's his wife that like dies. He has to make like the painful decision to like lock her in and stuff like that. It's his like. He's convinced that this wasn't just like an accident like they're trying to tell him, and like that's what gets everybody like embroiled back into everything. It makes so much sense to just like kind of like let him redeem the last 15 years of his life, and then we just kind of pivot to his son and his like, and I'm not even really sure like what that's supposed to do other than just like I guess maybe vindicate his dad in retrospect, but like I don't know. It didn't hit. It didn't connect for me. And I think a lot of that had to do with like, they didn't give Aaron Tyler Johnson any kind of footing with that. Like, I don't think he registered the father's death in a way that like made us as an audience care, other than we like the guy we liked is dead. So yeah, I don't know. It didn't have a maximum impact in terms of drama, and narratively now we were kind of left with like a lesser protagonist.
Yeah, and he's technically trying to get back to his wife and kids, but I mean, I guess everyone is. That's not enough, especially because we don't get a lot from him as a character. Besides, he's not actually doing much to achieve that goal. He's just sort of moving slightly. Gareth Edwards kind of said in one of the behind the scenes features on the Blu-ray that he kind of wanted this sort of like global movie, so he deliberately wanted to do like multiple locations. So like, in his vision was like we're gonna have to do all these multiple locations. So this felt like a sort of a plot designed to sort of do what he wanted, but he didn't really give the character good motivation to get from A to B to C to D. Just like, well, I want a movie where we go to everywhere and like shoot in a bunch of places. But even a lot of the Godzilla movies do have thin characters. Like that's a hallmark of these movies. I mean, not all. Some of them do have decent ones, but even the ones that have thin characters, they're not this thin. Like they always have some stupid, really obvious thing. Like I want to get a picture of Godzilla, or like I want to like. There's always some very small motivation that's there besides want to get my wife again. Like they have they have things. Here's what it is: they have something defined to their character that's not related to the Godzilla attack at large. It's like, oh, like I had this dream of writing a book. Oh, like I want to make my son happy. Like it's something that's their motivation, that's their goal. And the Godzilla story is sort of in the way of it, and it's kind of happening at the same time. But with this character, he has no real motivation outside of needing to survive this attack, right? Like there's nothing about him that we know.
The monsters have more motivation than he does. You know what I mean? Like the two monsters, I think it's like, yeah, they're looking for their mate, and like you actually feel it. Like when they like kind of do that like weird like kiss handoff of the rocket, like I was like, that's these monsters look like prototypes of like Cybertrucks for the most part. I feel nothing when I see them, but that was like a really effective part for me. I was like, oh, their boo thing, they're linked up again. They met in Vegas. They're gonna get like a quick like 24-hour drive-through marriage. And then the whole thing about like Godzilla basically being like just like Earth's like sheriff I'm always a fan of like Protector Godzilla as a lore. I think that it's nonsensical and it really feels like, you know what I mean? Like it feels like us as humans trying to cope, you know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, no, he's for us. That's our guy. I'm with him. He will step on you and not think twice about it. I just don't. I don't feel protected. And so it's funny that like they all have like these like at least like really like relatable and root forable causes, and then Aaron Tyler Johnson's whole thing is just like guy that gets front row seats to all of it. That's his whole background.
The other thing is he literally accomplishes nothing in this movie. Like if you actually look closely, nothing he does means anything. There's even a point where they give him sort of save the cat moment. We're like, oh, he sees a kid, he tries to help the kid. We should feel for this character because he's sympathetic because he helped this little kid. If you watch what happens in that movie, he does nothing for this kid. That kid was on the train car. He gets on the train car. He just randomly runs into his parents. Aaron Taylor Johnson actually does not help him. He's just standing there. His parents find him.
The kids find his own parents. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe he does maybe comfort the kid a little bit, but he doesn't really shield him. He does nothing physically for him. He's just sort of kind of like, and it's bizarre. Same thing with like the climax.
Maybe it's like a teach a man to fish, give a man to fish kind of a thing, you know, like help or find a kid's parents. He's safe for a day. Let a kid find his own parents. He's safe forever.
And the climax what's also funny in the climax is that his entire role in the climax seems to be fixing the humans' fuck up. Because they said like this nuclear thing there, and then they're like, "Shit, we should not. We don't want it to blow up. So please go turn off the nuke for us." That's kind of his job, which is also kind of go to the point where a lot of my favorite Godzilla movies are ones where the humans sort of help in the conflict. Like they help Godzilla. The Godzilla and humans work together to defeat the monster. Here, everything the humans do is like making things worse. Like because they almost accidentally blow up everything. So
they also like steadily fed it for like 15 years because they were just like, well, it's too risky to blow it up, so I guess we'll just make it more radioactive.
Oh yeah. Yeah. What'd you guys think of the what was it? Ken Watanabe playing Shirazawa. They brought the names. Like I was like, is this going to be the same Shirazawa or something? But
Shiro Shirazawa. They took
it's a different.
They took the director's name and Shirazawa's name.
That's right. Yeah, it was like an homage character name.
The double homage, which now I appreciated. Like coming back to like, oh, that's cute.
Yeah,
that was cute. Yeah.
Let
he
them
was kind
fight
of an
is
interesting
the
character.
Hardest thing you could ever say.
That was cool.
I forgot that was from this movie, so I was like, "Oh my god, it's the gift!" It's the
gift.
It.
I was like, "Hell yeah, dude!" Like, you have just fully justified why you're in this movie with that line. Like, yeah, let them fight.
Yeah.
But before that, he gets to say the line, "The arrogance of men is thinking nature is in their control," which is completely a kind of line you've seen in one of the Japanese movies. They say shit like that all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got some good moments. I think that, I mean, like in terms of like a character, like we talk about Bryan Cranston's character, like being interesting, like he's probably the second one who's most interesting there. Like the scientist.
Imagine if they were doing the movie together. If it was a two-hander about like, it's just like crazy larger than life scientists that say like bonker shit.
Yeah. And ultimately he's right. Like they have to fight, right? Like he's right, but like I kind of get why nobody believes it too. It's like we can't just like let them fight in San Francisco. Like we can't just do that.
What, do they get like a standard 8-round title card? Like,
yeah.
Oh man, I had something I forgot.
Well, it's also the let them fight. When you think about kind of what he's saying about the arrogance of the man, where you think nature's in control, let them fight. It just From A to B, it's like you said. It's like, yes, it's really arrogant of us to think we can control nature, control these giant monsters or whatever. Let them fight, but like you said, if you let them fight, that's just gonna destroy everything. And I'm not sure you should not try to do something about that. Like
a person in authority, like right. Can't just allow that to happen. I guess, I get it.
It's not man being arrogant and like going into nature and incurring to nature and like trying to take control of things that are away. This is when nature comes into them. So it's like, wait a second, guys. Like, I feel like the situation is different. You need to like, it's contextual arrogance here.
Yeah,
Yes,
sometimes arrogance leads to like magnificent things too. You know, it was arrogance that made people like carve faces onto a mountainside, and now we just have giant president faces on a mountainside. You know what I mean? Like, if that's not arrogance that yields results, I don't know what else I could give you.
Right.
Uh,
Did you guys? So one of the I mentioned earlier, one of the things that the Toho said is it has to have like a nuclear element to it. But they kind of they changed the nuclear like metaphor for it. Like I think so. I got the quote from Gareth Edwards. He said, "Quote: Godzilla is a metaphor for Hiroshima in the original movie. We tried to keep that, and there are a lot of themes from the '54 movie that we kept. We tap into nuclear themes within our film. That's the heart of the film, but it's more about the power of nature, how we sometimes abuse the power. Godzilla is a symbol of nature coming back to put us in our place to restore the balance." So like you said, that balance of nature. And it feels like I think that there was a little bit given to the Hiroshima stuff, like where Serizawa talks about the watch and his father being like where the bomb was. But I feel like the reframing of the way that like Godzilla, like, so essentially, if for anyone that hasn't seen the movie, Godzilla is like rampaging in 1954. Basically, we drop the nuclear bomb to destroy Godzilla. Then that's kind of where the new origin, I guess, is in a sense. And so like that was an interesting. I think it takes a little bit of the bite out of the nuclear like story from the originals, of course. And I did read too that like some of the involvement with like the U.S. military wanted them to tone down anything talking about Hiroshima. I think they got the involvement of the Navy officially, but I think the Army like even didn't want to be officially involved. So that's why it's all like Navy officers that we see. But so yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think about that reframing of it?
I thought it was a missed opportunity because like I like the fact that they had the nuclear element back because I also rewatched the 1998 Godzilla, which completely eliminates it. There's nothing nuclear about it at all. So I was glad. Okay, they really brought back the nuclear element. They had the watch stories, like they're really paying homage and keeping true to the spirit of the character. But then there could have been so much more done with the fact with America's complicity and involvement in nuclear power. And how because obviously with the Japanese movie, that's from their perspective of like the Americans did this. So how would an American movie that admits that Americans did this, and how would that really look when you're using Godzilla as a metaphor for the Japanese response? There's a really I don't know what it would look like, but I think it'd be so interesting if the movie had done something combining like basically what we had in Oppenheimer was like, what if the Oppenheimer mentality was applied to an actual Godzilla movie? And the characters really were engaged with Godzilla as a nuclear metaphor with we created Godzilla and like what does that mean for us specifically?
Agreed. Yeah,
I'm on the same page. I think if they had just like made it a more direct like line of like in the American remake, like Godzilla was like a byproduct of like their bombing as opposed to like they bombed as a reaction, it would have made more sense and would have been a great complementary conversation to what Japan has used Godzilla for over the years.
Yeah, well said. Well said. Do you guys have any more thoughts about the movie before we move into the monster elements of it?
Elizabeth Olsen was wasted.
Oh yeah. So, she emotes more in one phone call than Aaron Taylor Johnson does in the entire movie.
I think she would have been a better protagonist, honestly.
I saw someone mention that. Before I rewatched the movie. When I rewatched that with that idea in my head, I was like, he was right. If you switch the casting, Elizabeth Olsen would have made that character pop, even with the same script. You would have felt for her. She would have brought layers to her. You would have thought, oh my God, I really want her to survive. And I would fundamentally, mechanically, nothing would change about the character. But you'd be so much. I feel you'd be way more positive about that character if it were Elizabeth Olsen.
Yeah, 100%.
Yep.
I think that. Yeah, I simultaneously think she was wasted and brought a stronger performance than Aaron Taylor Johnson.
It's a twofer.
Yeah, she can do it all.
Yep.
Oh, I guess the other one thing I wanted to mention I liked about this movie a lot, especially after watching Monarch the show. Was going back to this first movie and seeing how they'd already laid the seeds for Monarch and how they revealed world building here. Because they're basically building this legendary verse in this movie. And I forgot how much they just built it in this movie.
Yeah.
So it's really kind of cool to sort of go through and like you sort of see like, oh, Monarch and like what they've been doing and what they're studying. Like, oh, they've known about Godzilla and the Titan. Well, they were calling we weren't calling them Titans yet, but like they know about them for years. So dropping into this world and sort of coming into it in a way where it feels like you're already in this lived-in universe that's known about kaiju for years was really cool. I think it was the world building was really well done. I mean, that's one thing Gareth Edwards is good at, the world building. Like a creator, same way. Like you drop into the world, you feel your way through it. It's really cool. So he may have some other script issues, but the world building is really good in this movie.
That's a good point. So we've been kind of going through the Godzillas in order. So we actually, I personally haven't seen really any of the other Legendary films or Monarch yet. So it sounds like you have watched all of them now?
All of them, yeah.
What do you think of like the direction that like Legendary has taken with the Monsterverse from here?
So yeah, the Legendary Monsterverse gets this is I wish they kind of, now that I kind of go back to this, I wish they'd stayed more in this direction. I like the series. I like the series Godzilla here. They do get more fun and goofy. I actually have a real soft spot for Godzilla versus Kong. I actually rank it really highly, probably more highly than I should have, because it was like my first movie back from the pandemic in a theater, like big IMAX. Like I have fond memories of that.
Yeah.
But I think Godzilla versus Kong did what it said on the tin. It really gave me some good Godzilla versus Kong fights in a way that the King Kong versus Godzilla movie did not, because that's not a very good movie.
No, it's not.
But and then the recent Godzilla X Kong was not a fan of that too much either, because they start to get really weird. They start to get bombastic and like super plot driven in ways that are just like, we're just going to have lots of silly ideas and shuttle really good actors through this weird plot and have lots of special effects on the screen, and nothing really has any weight in characterization or in visuals. And they're fun, but they don't, because I think like basically they don't have the charm of they don't have the inherent charm of just being really goofy, because they're still trying to kind of walk the line of being serious, but they don't really know how to do it really.
They feel really like similar to like the Emmerich Godzilla too, where it's like a lot of like the human parts, at least in this one, this felt more akin to the Japanese movies where like the characters act like they're in a movie where a giant monster is destroying things around them, where like they don't think that's silly. Whereas like I remember, I think it was Godzilla versus Kong with Brian Tyree Henry in it.
The podcast thing, yeah.
And it's just like the whole time you're just like, is this the scary? I don't know.
Yeah. It's a very different tone for sure. The Kong Skull Island is my favorite. I
love that one.
That is my favorite of the Monsterverse movies. I thought it was great.
I'm a little bummed that we didn't do it for the series, which makes sense because there's no Godzilla in it. But I love that Samuel L. Jackson at one point stares down Godzilla like, I'm gonna eat that monkey, and Godzilla can't see him. like he's doing a face off with somebody that can't see him. It's super.
You mean Kong?
Yeah, like Kong is like
Kong.
Yeah, like if you're just like a general who's just seen your entire team, spoiler alert, get just wiped out, and then you just stare down Godzilla like, I'm gonna get that monkey, and he can't see you. That's just so funny.
You called Kong Godzilla like 4 times.
Did I call him Godzilla again?
Yes.
Kong. I know his name. Kong.
Do you? No. We can still do that movie in the future, but yeah.
Monarch, the show, was pretty good. It was a little uneven, but I think it also had some interesting things to define the world. It switched between past and present, and I thought the past sections that kind of like talk about the origins of Monarch and kind of like first discovering that the kaiju exist was really good. The actors, the characters were really fast. I liked all that past stuff more than the present stuff most of the time. It's I don't know if there's gonna be a second season, but it did some pretty cool stuff, and it was great. Kurt Russell was having a lot. It was great to see Kurt Russell and Wyatt Russell. So I don't know whether you know this, but Kurt Russell and his son Wyatt Russell are on the show, and Wyatt Russell plays the young Kurt Russell. So
that is fun.
That is cool.
That's cool. Yeah, I thought Monarch looked pretty cool. Like when I saw the trailers for it, looked interesting.
What is that on?
Apple.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Apple.
Nice.
Yeah. That looks good. But shall we monster you guys?
Let's monster.
Yeah.
All right. So there's actually quite a bit of information we got about the visual effects and the monster stuff here. Visual effects were supervised by Jim Rigel, I believe, best known for his work in Lord of the Rings trilogy. So that's pretty good. Gareth Edwards and the producers were pretty adamant about keeping Godzilla's design consistent with the Toho version. There's a quote where they said they wanted to make sure they got it right. Godzilla had to look like Godzilla, period. They didn't want to do the kind of 98 thing where they made it like different. So the Godzilla that we do see is primarily CGI, some motion capture. Andy Serkis provided some consultation on the film's motion capture. And an actor by the name of TJ Storm provided the motion capture bits for Godzilla, while actors Matt Cross and Lee Ross provided motion capture for the Muto creatures. So while there wasn't suitmation, there was some motion capture, but it was mostly CGI. And I think, would you guys agree that this looked pretty good in terms of like the visual effects?
Yeah,
I liked it.
It looked great.
I liked the articulation. Like I think there's like one point where he like catches the flying Muto.
Yeah.
And I think that like the problem with like not the problem, but like the inevitable issue that you run up against with suitmation is that like they don't move as like flawlessly as like an actual creature that lives in that body and would know how to move it more gracefully. So I think that like that was like, I don't know, it just really stuck in my mind when he just like snatches it out the air and it's like, oh yeah, like it's kind of like when like a bear catches salmon.
It kind of reminds me of like the old Batman movies, the 89 and the 90 ones, where like he can't really quite move his neck ever. Like Godzilla suitmation, like he can't really move his neck.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to say I met TJ Storm.
You did?
It's at San Diego Comic-Con.
Nice.
He was at the Godzilla panel. Also met the director of Godzilla Final Wars. He was really great.
Wow.
Yeah, TJ Storm was there, as well as the guy I think Alan Henry, the guy who does Kong in the recent Kong movie. So, but TJ Storm was really cool. I met him. I got him to sign my Godzilla Ghibli shirt I was wearing. He spoke about the fact that the way he got the job was that they just called him in for some sort of movement thing, because he's a motion capture guy. He does lots of stuff. They called him in without telling him what it was. So he came in to sort of work on this movement thing, and then he's like, "Okay, what do I do?" Like just kind of there, and they're like, "Okay, so you're Godzilla," and he's like, "What?" It's like so you try to act like, and they didn't give him any sort of model. They hadn't really designed Godzilla at the time, so they didn't give him any sort of like model to how to act like Godzilla. So he kind of looked at the original Godzilla and this, the original suitmation artist, like how does that Godzilla move, and kind of use that as the how am I going to move as this Godzilla. And what's funny and kind of really great is apparently the first movie that he saw on the big screen, like as a kid, was Godzilla versus the Smog Monster, which is the American version of Godzilla versus Hedorah. I don't know, that's one of my favorites. I don't know if you guys saw it, but it's great.
Yeah. That was like from the 70s, right?
Yeah, it's super fun and super weird. But yeah, I'm glad that was he got to like be Godzilla after sort of becoming a Godzilla fan at a young age.
Yeah, that's so cool to hear. I'm glad.
Yeah, he's really cool. And the other thing, to your point, Khalid, regarding how they move, I like to going back to this after seeing Godzilla X Kong. In Godzilla X Kong, all the visual effects, they look like cartoons. Like they just like move around, swinging. Like apparently there's motion capture. It doesn't look like motion capture. It looks like they're just using CGI and like doing whatever they can. And here they have weight. Like this visual effects have weight. They feel like they're taking up space when they move. They feel like they're actually gigantic creatures who need to like pick up their entire leg and put their entire leg down. Or when when they're flapping their wings, they don't flap it. They don't just like swoosh, whoosh, whoosh. There's air resistance, right?
Yeah.
Like they have to move at a specific speed. Like if their wings are that big, they cannot flap that fast. They'd have to like move like an actual thing with that wingspan. And so I appreciate they felt that made them feel more real. And then I like the way that they shoot the monsters, because they shoot them not, like you mentioned, not just from the ground up. Like the human's eye view is great, but what they do is they shoot the monsters like they're not the focal point. They're just kind of like shooting the environment, and you see monsters in the environment. They're not like Godzilla's not the star, except in some scenes he is, but normally just like the camera's around, like you're looking around, and you see little bits of the monster. So I like the fact that they're not focusing on them. It has that immersive realism that I think Gareth Edwards goes for a lot.
Yeah, I think that all came off really well, and like they had. I got a list here. They have like almost like 5 or 6 visual effects companies that we talked about on the podcast many times working on this, like MPC, Weta, Amalgamated Dynamics, and more, like all of this. I have a quote from someone from working from moving picture company MPC who said, quote, Godzilla was animated as a fluid, living and breathing creature with the addition of humanistic elements to capture his attitude and personality. MPC's artists use a mixture of body language and carefully designed facial expressions, which allowed them to translate emotions and expressions on screen without breaking the believability of the creature. Their animation team utilized a variety of references, including the movement of bears and reptiles, as a basis for the keyframe animation that gave Godzilla movement. So I thought that was kind of an interesting, like, the attention of, like you're saying, to detail paid and like what it was. This is also, as of this point, at least, the height of Godzilla in universe turned out to be 355 feet, and it was the biggest and heaviest Godzilla yet.
He looked big and heavy.
Yeah.
Was he chonky enough for you, Khalid?
You know what? I gotta give credit where credit's due. You know what I mean? Like, it was almost too chonky, but they hit that sweet spot. Yeah,
I know you like the dump truck. The Godzilla dump
that
truck
donk. It's just, I don't know. It's integral to the lore at this point.
Thick king.
Yeah, thick king. You know what I mean?
100%.
Also, to one of the things that Blu-ray special features mentioned was that in the Godzilla design, they wanted it to look like lava. So if you look at kind of like the texture of the skin, it's supposed to resemble lava to kind of give that kind of feel of, you know, a creature coming up from the earth, I think.
Oh, I can see that. That's a cool idea. Yeah. Yeah, they did a good job with all that stuff, paying attention to that. The other big ones, the Mutos, we'll talk about it, the giant parasitic titans, which stands for massive unidentified terrestrial organism. So these guys, I think, like, I had like a description I wrote up, but Khalid, like, looking like just like early concept Cybertrucks was actually a really good description. Like, that kind of works. Like, I clocked that. Like, that was good. Like, I don't know, they're like weird and kind of
geometrically blocky. Unappealing.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't know. Yeah.
I appreciate they invented something new though. Like, they went for a new design. Yeah. They didn't just bring back an old, I mean, they in the second movie was like, let's bring back all the favorites. But I would appreciate if they came back and said, you know what, we're going to invent something new. I actually just watched, Godzilla 2000 yesterday, and that was another one where they actually, made up a new creature instead of just bringing back old creatures from the Showa era, which is what they normally do for the Godzilla movies.
I thought
the design's all right. Like, I wouldn't say it's like the best design, but it was interesting enough and sort of alien enough that they felt otherworldly, which I like.
They obviously thought about it too. Like, I like the element, like the female male element, where they're different, and there's like a female significantly larger, the male has the wings, and like, so they like thought about the design of these things and how like they're somehow compatible. And I don't know, I think you're right. Like, I'm glad they designed something new and created something new and different for it. I think that was a cool element.
And I'm very glad that at one point Godzilla just rips open one of their heads and atomic blast into their fucking throat.
That was great. That was great.
French inhale, that was beastly. Just went for it.
Oh man.
Again, that was one of the few times where I was like, man, I wish I could see more of this. This is a really hard to see fight.
Apparently Gareth Edwards said that it took over a year to design the Muto creatures because the crew wanted to create something that felt new and different and feel like very alien. So apparently they looked at creatures. Apparently they took design elements from Jurassic Park, Alien, Starship Troopers, and King Kong.
I see Starship Troopers and
I see Starship Troopers too. Yeah,
I can see that.
Yeah, but I think they were cool ideas. Do we see them more in the Legendary movies? These guys?
No, not these guys. Like, they're I mean, basically they changed the Mutos to they're calling them Titans. So basically they move away from Mutos and they basically just rebrand like Mothra and Ghidorah and them as Titans.
Okay.
And saying that basically that all of those creatures, those Showa creatures, have just been around all the time.
Yeah.
But again, in Monarch, they have a whole bunch of Titans, and they're all new designs. So they've invented a whole bunch of different creatures in Monarch. So basically, there's a bunch of new creatures in that show, and they're all called Titans now. And basically, again, it's not just, they're basically sort of saying they've all been here for thousands of years. They've just been in the world underground, and now they're all coming up because Godzilla is here.
Yeah. Hollow Earth, right?
This specific design, I don't think comes back ever again.
Okay, yeah. Well, that was, I mean, like you said, very least it was interesting and new. The only other big piece I wanted to talk about in terms of behind the scenes of bringing like Godzilla to life is the roar, because I think like the Godzilla roar is always so iconic, and I think it's important that to get it right. And so in this case, the sound designer is a guy by the name of Eric Adal, and he had a fellow designer called Ethan Van der Rin. And they actually spent 6 months over the 3-year production getting the roar right. They used microphones that could record sound inaudible to humans. They found sounds to match the initial shriek and the finishing bellow, and they tested the roar. When they finally figured it out after like years, like the months of testing, they tested it in the back lot of Warner Brothers, and they used a tour speaker array that the Rolling Stones had just used for a tour, and estimated that it could be heard about 3 miles away. So that was kind of cool.
It did. It was a distinct roar. It sounded good.
Yeah, like,
that sounded good. Yeah,
yeah. Like it takes like an hour to get to it, but like that final, the big Godzilla reveal where it's like from the ground up, and it's like camera goes up.
Yeah,
and you see his face, and it's like the movie knows you're waiting for it. It like has a half second, like couple seconds, wait, and suddenly opens the mouth and does the roar. It's great. Like it really pops.
So cool.
It sounds like it should. It feels so powerful. It feels like, holy crap, it's a Godzilla movie. And then then Godzilla appears for like 45 minutes again. But like,
yeah, pretty much. Yep.
I will say the music is also lacking. Like that's the one thing that like when we jump between like the Japanese and the American movies, now that it's happened a couple of times, I really like notice like how missing that is from these American versions, where it's like, get like Danny Elfman or something. Like let's get the sound like really getting your blood pumping, you know? I just
make like a theme that's unique, or like theme that like stands out.
You know what I mean? Like I think about like the Mothra theme, and like how that is like such a just like culturally like ubiquitous like sound now of like boom, 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 boom. You hear it, and like you just feel something, and it's like it can register and communicate a million things, and it's just like that's part of the charm that I was talking about.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's kind of lacking. Like you could do a lot more.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys have any other final thoughts on either the monsters or this movie in general?
No.
I think I've said everything I wanted to say specifically about this movie.
I really tried to think of something to say.
No, I wrote down my notes. No, I'm pretty sure it hit all my points.
Surely I have something to say. Oh, Aaron Tyler Johnson does do one thing. He blows up the eggs.
Oh, he does that. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. He does that.
Thank you. I that is an oversight on my part. He does do something important.
Yeah, but like also like that's like the least believable thing. Like I don't think in that scenario I'm gonna be like, let me go gut that tanker and then like count on the surrounding flames to like just cook these eggs. It is just a wild thing to do in what is like clearly like a disaster zone. You know what I mean? Like you just blew up a tanker. Like sure, in movie world logic, you did the right thing, but like in real life, you don't know who's like buried under there.
Right. That part almost reminded me a little bit about the 1998 one where they had to like deal with the eggs and all that too.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking of too when he said eggs. Like, oh, I forgot there were eggs in this one too.
Yeah. It's an American thing, I guess. We love eggs.
We are obsessed with eggs.
Yeah. Shall we move on to our final segment?
Let's do it.
The final segment of the show is our What the Fandom segment, in which we share 1 to 2 things that we are into at the moment, may or may not have anything to do with monsters or even Godzilla. And as our guest, Sunil, you get to go last, so you can think about it if you need to. Khalid, we'll start with you. What the Fandom with you this week?
Thanks for asking, Joe. My What the Fandom this week is going to be the new Nemesis album, Verbatim. I think the first time I dropped Nemesis as a What the Fandom was about a year ago, actually. She is an independent artist, Palestinian born, and she just came out with this really, really just like soulful, amazing album that has like so many earworms. Joe, I think you would love it. Nikki too. Sunil, I'm not sure if you're like into female like vocalists or whatever, but some good stuff here. My favorite songs on the album shout out to Colored Concrete and let me see, what was the other one? Stick of Gum. But honestly, like the whole thing is very enjoyable. It's soulful. She has like a really good range to it where like it's just an instrumental voice. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's my What the Phantom this week. Verbatim by Nemesis. Check it out wherever you stream music. And Joe, What the Phantom with you?
Thanks for asking, Khalid. I'm going to have one really quick one, and one I'll talk a little bit more about. One, I just wanted to re-shout out because Joel did it last episode with Godzilla against Mechagodzilla, the TV show From on MGM/Amazon Prime. He shouted out because I recommended it to him, and he's like way ahead of me now, but I just started season 2 last night, and I know that season 3 is coming out very soon, and I just wanted to like reiterate that show is really cool. It's kind of I almost feel like a hidden gem vibe where like I don't know a lot of people who watch it, but I'm really enjoying it. It's very spooky, some interesting mysteries. I hope they're able to tie it together, but we'll see. So shout out that one. Check it out if you like cool spooky mystery shows, cool interesting monster mythology and all that. But the other thing I wanted to shout out is a book that I recently started. It's a new novella. I think it just came out this year or last year, called The Tusks of Extinction by Ray Naylor. It's a short, it's like only like 100 and some pages. I'm a little ways into it, but I just got it. And it's tells a story. It's kind of the future where basically we can map your consciousness into like a machine to save in case like they need somebody. So like important people or scientists who are doing something, they'll map their consciousness for various reasons. And one of the scientists that gets mapped is somebody who is doing research on the extinction of elephants. And then the story takes place hundreds of years after this person was murdered by poachers. They bring the scientists back and put their consciousness inside of recently cloned woolly mammoths to try to help the herd exist in our modern day world, because the herds keep dying out in these cloned packs. So so basically we follow this the scientist whose consciousness has now been implanted into a woolly mammoth and how she's dealing with that. So kind of a fascinating, fun sci-fi novel, or a novella, I would say. Yeah. But very, very interesting. Tell the different time frames and all that. So it's a little bit challenging to start, but I think now that I'm into it, it's really good. So that would be mine. My What the Phantom is From and Tusks of Extinction. So Sunil, how about you? What the Phantom with you?
All right. So the actual thing is I'm obsessed with. I have two things. Again, sort of short and long, because the actual thing I'm obsessed with is the video game Control, which is a few years old. I think people might have heard about it, but I'm finally getting to it. And I'm super addicted. I'm staying up really late at night playing this game about become like director of some sort of federal bureau of alternate world system things. And like there's incursions of alternate dimension monster type things. And you get all sorts of different guns and abilities and mod. You know how video games work these days, but it's really fun to go around this building, shooting people and like blowing things up, and you get to levitate stuff and like throw items at people.
Ooh.
Last night, I got the ability to psychically control enemies and make them fight for me. I'm so excited to use that on in other events now. But the other thing I want to talk about is the show Joko Anwar's Nightmares and Daydreams. Because I need everyone to know that they're sleeping on Netflix's international content, because Netflix has so much content from other countries besides America. Joko Anwar is a great Indonesian horror director, and this is basically, it's just sort of like his Cabinet of Curiosities. It's an anthology show. Basically ordinary people with supernatural phenomena, like weird old folks home. Like one of the episodes is like an orphan, and you adopt him, and he makes you rich, but in 7 days you die. You know. It's all these really fascinating premises. And what's cool is that it's all in Jakarta in different years, and it's all in the same universe. So as you watch more and more and more, you realize these are all happening in the same world. And by the end of it, you realize how it's all connected. And to be fair, it's an anthology. It's a mixed bag. I don't love it. I only like it. And that's why I don't want to like oversell it, but it's definitely worth checking out if you're interested in checking out, something Indonesian. And if you don't watch anything, it's 7 episodes. It's only 7 episodes. But if nothing else, watch the first episode, because it has got some really fucking horrifying monsters in it.
Sold. I actually, now that you mention, I looked this up not too long ago, and I actually think it was because of a post that you made, Sunil, about it. Because I was like, oh, that sounds awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
Joko Anwar is great. I mean, Satan Slaves and Pedagore, Queen of Black Magic. He's a great Indonesian horror director, so definitely check him out.
Sounds
Cool.
pod worthy for sure.
It totally does. If we do this on the pod, we'll have you back on for this one.
Okay.
Before we close out then, Sunil, I just wanted to thank you so much for joining us. This was 2 years in the making. We got you on finally. Happy that we made it work. What is there anything that you want to plug for yourself? Any new projects that you got working on, or any books that you have coming out, or stories or anything?
No projects, no really plugs, I guess, at the moment. Follow me on Letterboxd. I spend way too much time writing reviews that I get paid no money for. But I'm happy to just be spreading the word about various movies that people might have heard of or that people don't know whether they're on the fence about. And I'm here to say, watch it, usually, because I like us to. But I'll tell you why you should watch it.
Yeah. That sounds great. I do love Letterboxd, so I follow you there too. So I would recommend. You got some good reviews there. Before we close out, I just wanted to point out to our listeners, Frankenstein's podcast. We do have a Patreon. We have been a little inactive on it lately, just been busy with life, but we're hoping to put some more what we're calling Frankenbits out, short episodes that may not be about monsters, just about anything we want to talk about. So we'll hopefully have some more of those for you guys, but there are a couple tiers if you want to join us as a patron, and we'll have some extra content there for you. And it would help us out a lot with the show, with maintaining upkeep, equipment, hosting, all sorts of stuff like that. So we appreciate our patrons, and we have a few who've recently come to the $7 level, which we'll list in our show notes as special producers. So thank you to you guys.
Thank you, producers.
Yeah, that's Luke Johnson and Andy Groth up there now as producers. So thank you to those two.
Make it rain.
Yeah.
Actually, hold on a second. I just realized that it's not new, but
yeah,
to your audience, I realized I did mention Asian Monsters as an anthology that I'm in. So if you're any of you, since this is a monster podcast, Asian Monsters is published by Fox Spirit Books.
Yeah. And
so it's a great collection of just it's stories about Asian monsters. So like I know, a lot of people might not know, but all the various folklore in it's from India, Asia, Indonesia, China, all different authors from various cultures, writing stories about the monsters of their culture. So
it's a book, you said?
Yeah, it's a book, and it's got really great illustrations. I cannot believe the art I got for my story. I feel so lucky that I got art for my story. That's so freaking creepy.
Yes. All right. Well, I will definitely link that in
my story. My story is called the Vital's Query. It's about it's about an Indian monster called the Vital.
Cool.
And it's definitely one of the creepiest things I've written. So.
Well, we're sold then for sure.
Yeah. Honestly, also sounds pod worthy, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, 2 years in the making. Glad we finally made it happen.
Sounds
like a lot of relevant interests.
Yes, for sure.
Well, yeah, Sunil, just to echo what Joe said, thank you so much for coming on. This really was just a great discussion. As a penultimate Godzilla episode as well, you were a really great guest to have on. I've said it before, but I love the Godzilla fans, old and new, that this series has been able to kind of congregate and just getting all these different flavors of enthusiasm for basically just monsters knocking buildings over. It's real wholesome, and I am glad that we got to share that with you as well as with our listeners at home. Please consider becoming a patron, and until next time, creep it easy.